Okay, we're live. Let me just fix things a bit. Okay, there we go. So it's me again, Kathleen from the ZenART team. It's Monday, the usual Monday live painting session, but today it's doodling. There will still be some light painting, but just light because we'll be doing it on the dotted journal. So this is my own dotted journal from ZenART Supplies, and you can check it out. This comes in many beautiful colors. There's one in yellow, in orange, in turquoise, and also in lavender blue. So 5 wonderful colors. So mine is this pink one. Okay, so we will be doing autumn themed doodles so that you'll be prepared to fill in your journal, your planning, whatever for autumn. So, of course, I know that a lot of you like to decorate your bullet journals with themes. Um, I I'm here to try to help you out with the doodles. I love to doodle, so I hope this will help you out. And okay, let's start. I'm going to flip the camera down. Let's see, and then as usual, flip things around. And there we go. All right. So for bullet journaling, I'm sure. Hi, Dawn. Glad you are able to join. So for bullet journaling, I'm sure you guys have your own different ways, and actually, you can use your journal for all sorts of things. So you can just write on it. You can have a mixed media, whatever on it. Um, let's see. Okay, so I've had one before that's like a gratitude entry. So things that I'm grateful for that month, for example. So let's say, well, new art supplies, having to get good sleep, um, my birthday, things like that. So it can also be a brain dump. And as usual, when you add your doodles, it just makes it your very own. Okay, so even books to read, dreams, and then I also write my entries. So now it's time for some autumn or fall themed doodles. Okay, so have you guys filled out your journals for the next month? Okay, let me just get separate paper to practice the doodles before we actually do them here. Okay, so let me just get sketch pad paper so that I can doodle them bigger. You can see them better. Okay, one moment. I'm just tearing off a page. Okay, so what I like about bullet journaling, specifically dotted journals, it's that the dots are very discreet. So actually, if you squint, it's like you don't see dots at all. But it's there to guide you if you want to use the dots as guide. So it's just the perfect in between from having a lined notebook or just a plain paper one. So this one has really very subtle dots like this. Very, very pale gray, very light. So very awesome. I like it because as you could see when I added stuff to it, you can hardly see that there are dots. Yes, you can totally have themes and it's fun. You can mix your writing, your planning, and your painting together. So that's the beauty of journaling. To be honest, I don't get to properly do it all the time, but as long as we keep trying, then that's fine, right? Okay, so let's start with, of course, with autumn. I think the first thing that we would see would be the leaves changing color and the leaves different kinds of leaves. Okay, so let's do that. Let's start with different kinds of leaves. Let's sketch it out first so you can see. Let me find my Sharpie. Okay. So I'll sketch it here so it's bigger so you can see it. And then, of course, we're going to do it here later. So you can, of course, start just by doodling them and just trying them out so you can get the hang of things before you put it in your journal. Okay, so the most common leaf would be this shape, and you can be as random as you want with this. It's a nice thing. No two leaves are exactly the same. Okay, so once you have this shape, as long as you have this three points here and just have ragged edges, then you have your step one. Okay, so step one. So don't stress, just, jagged tip, jagged going in. Okay, so point one, two, go in three, up again, four, five, back here, and then go in again, back to one. All right, so that's how you do it. So just go out, tip, go back in, go out again to the tip, then go back in, out to the tip, in, and curving back here. Okay, and the next, now you can add the veins or the lines. Okay, so we can start with a line up to here. You don't have to have it reach till the end, and also here to the side and to the other side as well. Okay, so just try to imagine it almost going straight to the tip so that you know which direction you're going. Okay, so just imagine it as you draw there and there. You can of course use a pencil. You don't have to go straight to a indelible marker or pen. Okay, feel free to pencil it out first and then trace over it. Okay, and then you can even, you should, I think, add more to this, little veins, just so it's not so stark. Okay, like so. And here too. And here. And the other side as well. So try to add variety so that they're not too the same. Okay, so there's your leaf. Step two, the veins, and then just stretch this down for the stem. Okay, you can make it longer, of course. Up to you. Okay, so this is leaf one. Let's try, and then you can the nice thing about this is you can have this in several different colors. You can have this in yellow, orange, red, green, and just vary the shape. Okay, so another easy leaf would be, okay, let's try just a basic shape. Okay, okay, let me just use my pencil so it doesn't come out weird. Okay, so just, all right, there you go. So now another leaf. I'm just drawing this big just so you can see it better now. But of course, in your journal, it's up to you the sizing that you want to do. So remember, these are just doodles, so we are not aiming to draw a very realistic leaf. This one is a bit, but as you could see, you can just do it easily. And again, when you add these veins, just aim to go towards the point so that it doesn't look weird. Okay, and again, you can use this as many times as you can in different colors. So that's the fun thing. You can have them in a row of different colors and they will look awesome. Okay, and you can also change this shape. Let's say you can just change the shape a bit, make it a bit more elongated and the shape going upwards. So let's add another row. And the same thing, add your line in between, and then of course curving upwards. Okay, so even the same similar leaf shape, just having the ends pointing in a curve, more in a curving direction, and adding more edges. Here there's just three, 1, 2, 3. Here 1, 2, 3, 4. So you already have a different kind of leaf. Okay, so let's add even simpler leaves. The nice thing about autumn is just changing the colors. You can already have different autumn leaves. Okay, so let's try. Okay, and the same thing, you add your lines. Okay, and you can even change the shape of this. You can make it go upwards. Like so. Okay, so have fun with your leaves. And one last thing that it's also nice would be, okay, let's start with the line first. Okay, and then let's add the leaves. Okay, and then as we go down, we lengthen the leaves slightly. Next. So I think 4 rows of this is good. Okay, so what I like to do is I grow bigger, and then the last one becomes smaller or almost the same as the one before. Okay, so you have your 5 leaves. So again, you can of course take a look around, but just remember, you can just keep it simple. Um, you don't have to go crazy with the details. Okay, this is big, so when you do it smaller, it will look nice. So let's try it out. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to use, let's start with just our pen and our color pencils. Use whatever materials you prefer to use, of course. Okay, so let's start with the first leaf. Okay, and then the line going up and then down to the stem and then to the tip, almost, not quite, and then add the other details. Okay, leaf 1. And again, you can use different colors. So I'm going to go with orange. Okay. A nice orange. Okay, so this is just a colored pencil. You can just do one color if you want, or you can blend. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll start with the orange here. And then I'll add a mix of red. Okay. So just blend it on top of the orange a bit so that the transition goes smoothly and not abrupt. Okay, so blend, blend, blend on top of the orange. And I'm going to go over it with orange again to blend it even better and to just refine. And there you go. You have a nice autumn leaf. Awesome. Okay, so you can also use orange and green mixture. So you can have a leaf that's turning from green into orange. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, so let's just draw directly. So forgive if it's not perfect. Okay, so let's say you want to use a different leaf. Let's say let's use a simpler leaf. Okay, now let's have it turn from green to orange. Okay, so usually you would use a not too deep green for this because you want it to blend into orange. So I start with the green and then I add a bit of yellow, warm yellow. So you transition from green to orange. Okay, don't do it abruptly so that it looks more natural. And again, you can go back to your green and blend it better on the edges. Now we can go to orange. And you can change the shape so it's not too uniform. You can have this going up a bit here and there. You can totally overlap the yellow. So even how it changes color is more natural looking. So I moved it here and here too and here as well. And I have another change in color leaf. Okay, so play around with this. You can also have just yellow turning into orange. You don't have to start with green. You can have orange turning to red. And you can also have orange turning to red to brown. Okay, so the many different ways to have to show that the leaves are changing color. And you can totally have one leaf with just one color. You don't have to do this style. I just like to do this because well, it's fun. It's fun to blend colors. Okay, so let's try it out with going into brown. Okay, so let's try it with this long leaf. Again, you can always sketch this out with your pencil. I'm totally just winging it, as long as it still looks like a leaf. And you can still go over this again with your pen if you want to darken the outline. You can do that. Okay, so now let's do the orange to brown. Okay, so let's start with our vibrant orange. So I'm using this is Faber-Castell, I think, polychromos. I love these because they're quite vibrant and soft and very easy to blend. Okay, so as usual, I'm going to go beyond because I like to overlap the colors when they transition. Okay, now I'm going to go to red. And don't be afraid to go back and forth with your colors. Um, this technique really works well with colored pencils. You can overlap them with each other repeatedly and they'll just blend even better. Okay, so I really like to do that technique. It just creates a more seamless transition. Okay, and now I'm going to extend this down so the brown doesn't look too stark. And if you have a selection of brown that's more on the redder side, you can mix that with a darker brown. Okay, so let's try it out first with this reddish brown. So it's not too sudden a change. So this is like a burnt sienna color. And again, you can always darken it with another brown. And feel free to blend it upwards as far as you want. Again, it doesn't have to be uniform changing. Okay, so now you have 3 different colored leaves. Have fun with this and have fun with the different leaves, and feel free to create your own as well. Just remember to keep things simple. Again, we are just doodling. We're not there to create things hyper realistically. Now let's move on to our next batch of themed, autumn themed. Okay, so let's try the pumpkin. Okay, so their autumn will always have pumpkins. Okay, so let's try it here now. Okay, let's Sharpie time. Okay, so we have our basic pumpkin. Okay, let's start with the pencil. I don't want this to look too uneven. Okay, so I like to start in the middle for the middle shape. And then from there, I add the sides. The nice thing about pumpkins also is that even if they're not even, that's fine because they really are not. Okay, and then you have to add the stem or the stalk and then the curls. Okay, I always like to add the curl, the vine. Okay, so now I'm going to go over it with the Sharpie so you can see it better. Start with the middle and then add the sides. And then the stalk. And then the curl. Okay, so that's our very first easy, nice pumpkin. And then you can always also draw a group of them together if you want, or a stack of them. Okay, so let's start with a stack of them. Okay, that would also look nice on in the corner, let's say, of your journal. Okay, so let's start from the top, the smallest one at the top. Okay, so let's start again with the middle and add the sides. You can make this as chunky as you want. You don't have to stop with how many I'm making. You can make as many sides or as a taller one if you want. Okay, now let's add the next one. So this has overlapped the top, so the top of the next will be a bit cut off, like so. Okay, so let's start with that, and it will be bigger because they're stacked on top of each other. So remember that. Okay, not perfect. This should be a bit like that. Okay, and then another one below, again, bigger. And you have a stack of pumpkins. So very easy, very fun. Okay, how about a group of pumpkins? Okay, so just make sure to have in your mind's eye which is in front, which is at the back, at the middle, and the back. Okay, let's say we have three like that. Okay, and you can already play around with the sizes of this. So let's start with a small one here. A stout one. Okay, and then let's have a tall one at the back. And try to play around with the shapes as well. And let's have a mid fat one here. Okay, just starting with the middle for me really helps out a lot because I just base everything I add on from the middle. If you want to add, like it's a bit viewed from an angle upwards, you can just add the other sides like this very easily. Okay, let's do it here as well. Okay, so now you have your single pumpkin, your stack, and your group. Okay, so I hope that was clear how to go about things. Very easy, middle, and just add the sides. And you can play around with the height, with even the how the lines go. You know, they're not always going to be perfectly shaped. So again, just keep practicing and you'll get it. Okay, how about a pumpkin pie? Okay, so let's try a simple pumpkin pie. So let's start with the top shape like this. Okay, curl on this side, other side, and then let's have curls all around. Okay, so I don't want this to be too even, but you can if you want to. And then the bottom, of course. Okay, and let's connect the two. Okay, and from here, let's add the tear-shaped lines. Try to follow the shape. Okay, and then let's add some okay, so just to show that this is the crust. And you can also add, depending on the dish that it's served in, you can add details like this or keep it plain. Again, you can do both ways. Okay, you can even make this longer if you want and thinner. Okay, so you have a pie, and you can also have a separate pie. Okay, like a slice. Okay, let's try a slice of pie. Okay, and let's add some cream on top. A dollop. Okay, and let's add the actual pie. And don't forget to add the crust. And just like what we did here, let's adjust the end of the crust. Okay. Hello. Glad you're able to join. Okay, so single pumpkin, a trio in a group, a trio stacked. Of course, you can have more than a trio, or you can have just two, up to you. A full pumpkin pie, a slice of pumpkin pie. All right, so now let's try to draw it here. Okay, on our journal. Okay, so I think let's try just the one so that we don't take up so much time. Okay, so let's start with this one. This is very cute. I like the curl. Okay, so let's start again with the middle. Then let's add the sides. And then another. And then stalk on top. And again, if you want to look at this like it's from an angle, just add and you can add the curl. Okay, so you can color this in your own way. There's different ways to go about it. It's up to you. I like to start with an orange here. Okay, and then I'm going to mix orange and red here. So just a thinner layer of orange. Okay, I'm not pressing too hard, just going over it lightly. And now I'm going to add red. So I'm trying to create a red-orange. It's very easy with autumn because just the colors really, you can just use the autumn colors and you can easily have an autumn themed, like for example, for sweaters, for socks, gloves, those details. Just an umbrella, for example. In summer, I would paint it bright yellow, and for autumn, I would be golden, yellow, and orange and red. So just playing around with the colors, an object can change into different seasons. Okay, so just keep in mind the autumn colors and you'll be fine. Okay, so again, blending two colors. And then going over it again with orange. So have fun with your colored pencils. They're really, really fun to play around with, especially if they're very blendable. You can really enjoy coloring. Okay, so now I'm just using red. So just, you don't have to follow this, okay? This is just my way. You can have it fully orange. It's up to you. I just really want to have fun with blending. Okay, and at the back, I'm going to start to go back to orange. So just a light red here and here. And then orange. Okay, and this would be brown. I don't think I have a very dark brown. Oh, I do. Okay, so I'm going for a dark brown. And you can, of course, add brown here too. It doesn't just have to be a line. And we have our pumpkin. Okay, so let's move on to our next autumn theme. Okay, let's flip our paper now to the, okay, it's too dark. Let me just get a new sheet of paper. Okay. So as usual, I'll draw it big first before I do it on the journal, just so you can see the step-by-step in better detail. Okay, so of course, we also need Acorn, or the, okay, so let's see. Okay, so a very easy way to do things. Okay, so let's start with just this shape. Okay, and then you can just do a cross hatch here. And you have it. Okay, just highlight. All right, so this is by far, I think, the easiest, right? So I hope you can really have fun with this one. It's very easy to draw. Okay, you can also play around with the different browns that you would use for your colors. Okay, so which autumn themed thing do you like to draw? Okay, so let's try another one. This time, let's see. Okay, and the same point still, and of course you also need the top. Okay, and now you just draw lines. Okay, just following the curve of this part, and you have another one. Very easy. Okay, and then just play around with this. You can also have this is from the side, this is from a little bit down, and another one is a little bit from the top. Okay, let's say it's from the top. Okay, so we'll be able to see this. Okay, and the same hatch. And you can also use lines. Okay, so 3 different ways that you can draw this. And let's try it out here. Okay, so let's draw it on our journal. Okay. Pen. So very simple drawing. Another one. And another one. I'll start with a stalk just so I can have it as a guide. Okay. It is wonderful for colors, very beautiful, as you can see here. Hi, Belle. Okay, so let's see. Let's color them now. Well, it's going to be quite repetitive, but I'm just going to still show you. Okay, so don't be bored. Okay, let's see. Darker on top. So let's mix our colors. Okay, so I'm going to mix my reddish brown. Okay, with a little bit of the brown. Okay, some more. Okay, and then down here, let's try this out. Okay, so I like this brown. Okay, so it will be the same colors. The thing is, for example, for this, you can also experiment with using lines that are not black. Okay, so let's for example, let's color this. Okay, let's color it first so you can see what I mean, and I'll see if my white pen can cover it. If not, I'll use white gouache. Okay, so if you have a nice white pen or if you have gouache, then you can, instead of using black lines, you can use white. for the details, like this. So I'm basically covering just the black lines I did earlier, but you can sketch this out, color, and then use a white pen to add the details. Okay, so let's do it for the lines here too. So again, experiment with your pens and pencils because you can really create different effects. Okay, and it looks different too. Okay, so it would be better if it's much brighter, but let's just say um, it's very white. Okay, okay, not this. Okay, let's go back to our pen. But you can use white gouache and it will be very intense bright white. So I'm just showing you how you can do things. And there you go. Okay, so what else for autumn? Of course, you would want a hot drink, right? It's cold, so you're looking for something warm to drink. So let's have a cuppa. Okay, very easy, very simple. Okay, just a mug or a cup, it's up to you. Okay, let's start here. So just the shape first. Okay, so if your shape is like so on top, try to follow the same shape for the bottom, so it doesn't look too misshapen. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just the general shape. Okay, and of course the handle. And then you can have the drink up to a certain point, like so. And then I'll add this detail for tea bags uh, dangling out. And then you can add this detail to show that it's hot. Okay, so that's one. And you can have fun with the colors as usual. Again, you can stick with autumn colors if you want. You can also create a hot cocoa, let's say. So let's do a mug of hot cocoa. Okay, oh, I probably should have done this earlier, but okay, let's add some cinnamon sticks right here and some marshmallows on top. And there you go. And you can always add the hot detail if you want or not, up to you. Okay, so let's go to the next detail. Okay, of course with autumn you also want some honey. Okay, so you can just draw a honey jar. Very easy. Let's one that's tied. Okay, let's do one that's tied. Okay, so let's start with the top and then the sides. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, and let's add the tie. It goes around. And let's add the tie here. and then the jar. Okay, and you can always add the name Honey if you want. Okay, you can add like a label. And honey. Okay, very easy. You can actually play around with this shape. It doesn't have to be this kind of jar. It can be a tall jar. Like this. Okay, so again, it can have a label. It can be just written directly, or it can just be a plain jar, and you can just show that it's honey by using colors, the golden yellow color. Okay, if you want to draw just the cinnamon sticks, let's see. Let's add the curl first at the tip. Okay, and just like the split, how it rolls in together where it meets. And then the outside. Okay, so that's a cinnamon stick where you see where it rolls in together. And if from the side you just twist this, so it's going to be like this. And you don't see this part. Okay, so you can have fun even with just the cinnamon sticks. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, now let's go to clothing. Okay, we've done leaves, we've done the drinks and the honey and the cinnamon, and let's now do some clothing. Okay, so of course all the cold weather clothing come out. Well, the number one would be your sweater. Okay, so let's do a very easy sweater with a thick neck. Okay, so I tried to get this down, and then I add the sleeves. And then the other side too. Again, sketch it out if you don't want to make mistakes. You can make this longer, of course. You can make, but this is the basic, okay? And then you can just add patterns, okay? This can be two colors. This can be a stripe. Okay, let's try another one. Another sweater. Okay, so let's try one that has a visible neck like this. Okay, so now let's extend it a bit out like this. Okay, so I'm doing baggy sweaters so that they really look nice and cozy. Okay, and then let's do puffy sleeves. So now we have a chunkier ends, a bit chunkier. You can even make this longer if you want. Okay, and you can have as many lines as you want to show the stretchiness of the fabric. Okay, so where's my pen? Okay, there. So add as many lines as you want. Okay, here too, on this, on the cuff, and at the waistband. Another sweater. Okay, so have fun with the patterns, with the colors. As always, you can stick to the autumn colors. Okay, so let's say, okay, these are not very autumny. Let's just go with our, sometimes I also like to use watercolor. If you use water with just a small amount, it's doable. Okay, so let's try some watercolor now. Okay, so if you're going to do this on top of a pen, make sure your pen is water resistant. Okay, so this one is, so I can just draw first and then add my patterns after, my details. Okay, so let's try the second sweater. So again, these are doodles, so don't stress about making them perfect. Okay. Now I'm going to add the lines after. So let's now do some coloring. Okay. So I'll use a a smaller brush. Okay, so just barely wet. I'm going to start with a brownish color. Okay, so let's mix yellow oxide with a little bit of burnt umber. Okay, so let's do some patterns. Okay, wait. This one first. Okay, so as you can see, definitely wet and dry. Okay, don't do any wet and wet with this thin paper, but it's doable. Okay, so don't be afraid. Okay, as long as you don't wet it too much, you can do it. Okay, let me just quickly dry this. And next, the brown color that I mixed earlier. Okay, dry again. Now some reddish brown. So I'm trying to do my autumn colors. Okay, and then let's do some red. Okay, let's go back to the pale terracotta. Okay, and I'm going to do some golden. And there you have it. Okay, so once this dries, okay, you can of course make it darker if you want. Just use very little water. Okay, with thinner paper you can still do watercolor, just be mindful of the amount of water that you use. Okay, and you can, if you have other pens, you can also play around with the colors that you use for adding the details. So let's say I'm going to use this to add the lines. Okay. Oh, and let's not forget the inside. Okay, so this will be darker. And then we can also use another different color here. And there you have it. Okay, so sweater. And now we can also draw mittens. Okay. So very easy. Just basic shape. Let's do them together. Okay, and then we can connect them. Okay, and that's just very basic. And then what makes it special will be the details that you put on it. What colors you use. Does it have patterns? Okay, so let's say you want to add patterns to it. What kind of patterns do you want? Okay, let's do it here. Okay, right beside the clothing, the other clothing. Okay, so let's do a watercolor again. Let's do our golden yellow. Let's make it a little bit orangey. So I'm mixing golden quinacridone with burnt sienna to get this nice like burnt orange color. So the nice thing about mixed media is that you can really have fun with it. Okay, so that's the first layer. Now let's dry it. Okay, and then we can add now the extra details. I'll use my pen. And let me add some red. Okay, and here I'm going to make this red. Okay, and we can also use white. Adding little dots. So you can really have fun with your patterns. Create your own design and have fun. Okay, so anything else? I think we've covered quite a number of autumn themed. I won't cover everything because it will take forever, but clearly there's so much that you can do. So just to recap, we did the leaves here, and then we also did pumpkins, okay, several different kinds, the pie, even the slice, and we also did the drinks, the honey, the cinnamon, and also clothing. Okay, of course you can. There's so many more other clothing. The scarf, the hat, the beanie. Okay, so again, have fun and just try to have as many of the autumn colors as you can when you do it, and immediately when you look at it, it's gonna look autumn just by the colors that you used. Okay, so I hope that I was able to show you how easy you can doodle. And as you could see earlier, I don't always pre-sketch. Even if it doesn't look perfect, that's fine. Okay, just keep doodling because as you get used to keeping repetitive drawing, it will get easier and faster. It's muscle memory. Okay, so now I'm going to flip back. Okay, let me just flip back again. Okay, hello. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining me. So I hope you give this a try and do your be ready for your bullet journal planning for the coming autumn fall season. So I know you guys love to plan in advance and prep, so we're doing it very early so you can get the chance to really explore and have fun with your autumn themed doodles. Okay, so if you did try it, do share your own versions and so that others will be inspired to try them out as well. Thank you for joining me as always, and I hope to see you on the next one next week, and it will be grapes as promised. Linda, don't worry, it's just we just took a quick detour. Okay, so see you again next time, and bye.